pubic ramus fracture could be, or in addition to the anterior sacroiliac ligament tear, plus torn sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments. So here they are. So torn sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments. So this is a bit of complex injury in which you have a ligamentous injury. These are the ligaments which you can't see on X-rays, right? When these are torn, your joints actually subluxate and separate, and you can detect this on radiographs. This is the same anterior posterior compression and separation of the pubic symphysis with ligamentous injury. Anterior posterior compression type 3, very high energy AP force, posterior injury to the anterior and posterior sacroiliac, sacrospinous and sacrotuberous ligament. And this is very unstable injury, You see these sacroiliac joints are opening up here, and very wide gap between the pubic symphysis. So when this opens up, it cannot open up without tearing these ligaments posteriorly. So this much gap shows that you have a lot of ligamentous injury lying posteriorly as well. So the other type is lateral compression injury. Type 1, mechanism, lateral compression of the sacrum. Posterior injury, ipsilateral sacral and stirred compression fractures. Here you see this insult injury to the sacrum and injury to the ligaments. Type 2 lateral compression of ilium. This is the pattern. Posterior injury, ipsilateral posterior iliac fractures, ipsilateral posterior iliac fracture here. Lateral compression type 3, kind of a rollover, lying on the road, and some vehicle just crosses over it with lot of weight and lot of violence, lot of pressure. So this is the pattern. You see lot of fractures here. Posterior injuries, lateral compression first and 2, plus contralateral AP compression. It's a kind of a combination injuries which you have already seen in the previous slides. So you can just gather this from here. This pubic symphysis is separated. You have a fracture over here. You have ligamentous injury over here. You go for the CT, wide opening of the sacroiliac joint, and in this diagram you can have this pattern as well. Both sides involve superior and inferior pubic ramus, sacrospinous ligaments, and the other associated ligaments. Vertical shear, sacroiliac displacement often evident. If you can even detect this on examination. Mechanism is fall from significant height. Injury can be ligamentous only or involve fractures, very unstable. So this could be, most of these ligaments are torn, injured, pubic symphysis separated, and this whole complex has gone up, right? Vertical shear, by definition. You can have combined injuries, multiple forces from multiple directions, usually vertical shear and lateral compression. These two, when combined, you can have this type of pattern. High association with severe trauma, hemorrhage, and multiple injuries. Maybe most of these die on roads. So finally, we have arrived here. They have published this AO system, A and OTA, Orthopedic Trauma Association, have actually published this in the January 2018. So they have, you know, the AO system very well, that they allot numbers to the various bones and various long bones, and then they have given number to the pelvis is 6-1, right? So when they talk about 6-1, it means they are talking about pelvis, right? So this is the system which gives you a good documentation. You can document it in numbers and then you can present it anywhere. So you don't need to describe it in length as in the case of the previous classifications. So again they have 6-1 is the pelvis. You will have A type, B type and C type fractures. You will have A1, A2, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3 and C1, C2. And then you have a certain description for that. This is a good one. You can actually classify and accommodate almost any type of pelvic fracture you see. So 6-1A1 means that you have an intact posterior arch, innominate bones and aversion fractures. So A1.1, A1.2, A1.3. A1.1 anterior superior iliac spine. You see this? This is the fracture. Type 2. This is anterior inferior iliac spine, ischial spine. So these are the three. So A2 types: iliac wing fractures, rami fractures, unilateral fractures of the anterior arch, bilateral fractures of the anterior arch. So here in A-type fractures, your posterior complex is okay. And 6-1A3, transverse fractures of the sacrum, S3, S4, S5 or coccyx, wherever it is. If it is in the sacrum and coccyx, you include in 6-1A3 types. 6-1B1. Now this is what? This is incomplete disruption of posterior arch. You have incomplete disruption of posterior arch with no rotational instability. Again, 6-1B1.1, 1.12. So this is the same one, 6-1B1.1, the two views, right? You see it from front. Here's the fracture. Here is and these lateral compression of the Yergin verges are included here. Open book fractures, anterior posterior compression type 1 as it was seen in Yergin verges is here with this open book, and there is dehiscence in the pubic symphysis. When you go in detail, you will find this description given to each type of group of the fractures. I haven't included this in everyone, but just to give you an example that these fracture has to be qualified to get included in a particular type of classification. So 6-1B2, incomplete disruption of the posterior rotationally unstable unilateral posterior injury. So 6-1B2.1, right? Here's the fracture, here's the ligamentous injury, right? So we cannot go into details of these descriptions. Okay, continue to the 6-1B2, incomplete disruption of the posterior arch, rotationally unstable and unilateral posterior injury. So this is its classification. 6-1B2, incomplete disruption of the posterior arch, rotationally unstable, unilateral posterior injury. So these are the B-type fractures. If you read through the qualifications, that is ipsilateral and unilateral pubic ramus fractures, or could be bilateral pubic ramus fractures, or the contralateral pubic ramus fractures, symphysis disruption, parasymphysial fractures, tilt fractures, logs. 6-1B3, incomplete disruption of posterior arch, rotationally unstable and bilateral posterior injury. So you have 3.1, 3.2, 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3. So here we have an open book fractures, here we have posterior ligamentous injuries, fractures to the both inferior rami, and here we have open book injury plus posterior fractures. C-type fractures. So C-type, 6-1C1, 1.2, 1.1, again the same is the pattern. So you have a complete disruption of the posterior arch, unilateral posterior injury, and could be the vertical shear. You see this, these are the fracture lines. 6-1C1.1, complete shear through the sacroiliac joint, along with the pubic symphysis, and with the sacrum fracture in this case. C2, complete disruption of posterior arch, bilateral posterior injury, one hemipelvis injury, complete disruption, contralateral hemipelvis injury, incomplete disruption. So what you can gather from here is that there is tremendous detail in it. More detailed classification is this one, AO and OTA classification. 6.1.2.1 is complete disruptions through the ilium, complete disruptions. Complete disruption through the sacroiliac joint, and this is through the sacrum, through the sacrum. 6.1c3, complete disruption of posterior arch, bilateral posterior injury, both sides complete disruption. So you have both sides. 6.1.3.1, extra sacral on both sides, complete disruptions. Sacral one side, extra sacral on the other side. Sacrals both sides. Thank you very much.